Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week we talk about success and everything that goes along with it. You'll learn the principles of success, how to achieve success, and learn to overcome challenges that may be getting in the way of success in your life. You'll hear from Bill Napick, a radio personality and business development expert, along with insight from special guests. If you're ready to find your path to success or take the success you're enjoying to the next level, stay tuned. Successful Living with Bill Napick is on right now.
And welcome to the show. I am Bill Napick, and it is Successful Living with Bill Napick. In addition, it is also Successful Living with Lance Redman. He is the Regional Executive Director of Sundance Memory Care in the Katy location, and their newest addition, Mr. Brandon Green. He is the Executive Director of the newest location in Cypress that's going to be opening soon of Sundance Memory Care. So welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Bill.
Thank you for having us.
Well, it's exciting, and boy, we always love to help bring more awareness to what you do and what your organization does at Sundance Memory Care. And we've talked about it here this last year about the growth and the new location that's about to open soon at Cypress. So first, Lance, as you are in the Katy location that's been well established, and I understand you've also been promoted to Regional Executive Director of Sundance Memory Care. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
It's been great to kind of see the success happen here in Katy, and hopefully be able to share a little of that with our new location and there with Brandon, and kind of help them get started off to a good start.
And also, as we talk on this show about success and some of the things that it takes to do well at whatever we're doing, I would point out, too, let's first of all, if someone doesn't know, Lance, tell people about Sundance Memory Care and what your organization does and the people that it helps.
Yeah, so Sundance was created to care for people with dementia and their families. And so dementia is kind of a big umbrella term that covers a lot of things that maybe people are more familiar with, maybe Alzheimer's or Lewy body's disease, or there's many different forms of dementia. But what we do is we care for people long term, so people actually live in our communities, and then people also kind of come and visit for the day. And so we not only provide physical, emotional, spiritual care for our residents, but also their families. Because it's not just what's happening to the resident, it's also what's happened to their husband or wife or their mom or dad as they slowly kind of slip away, just kind of right from under them.
That's right. And, of course, as I stated, you are in Katy, Texas, and Brandon is in the Cypress location. But also, just to cover the Texas area, tell people where else Sundance has their locations right now outside the Houston area here.
We have another location. It's called Sundance at Brushy Creek, and it's in Cedar Park, Texas, up on the north side of Austin.
Well, very nice. And also, when we talk about ideas of success and how we do and excel at whatever we're doing, I think the fact that you gentlemen are involved and your president and CEO, Matt Stanley, are involved in something so challenging to the individuals you care for and their families as diminished memory, that I think also puts a requirement on you or any people on your team where you have to have some extra skills in terms of perhaps patience and diligence in doing what you have to do and exceeding the expectations. So give us a word on that, Lance, if you would, how you've been able to do so well in these years at the Katy location of Sundance Memory Care.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things we tell families is, hey, we're going to mess up at some point, but we're going to fix it. We're going to do our best to make things right. And one of the things I've noticed is people come in with a lot of skills, but it truly is what you just said. It's that ability to have that patience and that care for our residents, and the ability to, even at those times, I compare it a lot. So I've got 3 little kids, and when mom's away for the weekend and it's just me and the kids for hours on end, there can be times where I may get a little short or not exactly have the patience that I should as their dad. And I think it's similar for caregivers. Is there's those times when you've been here for 6 or 7 hours and someone's asked the same question over and over again. It really takes right? It's this idea that we many times will look for character over competence. This idea that it's the person's their character that really is going to make them a great caregiver. We can teach people the skills, but you can't necessarily train someone to be patient or train someone to be more loving.
So also, as a leader, you have to have a keen eye to choose the right people to be on the team to help in this special way with people that have diminished memory and their families. How do you as a leader put forth the vision to the rest of the team members?
Yeah, I would like to pretend like I've totally got that figured out, but I think I fail more often than not. But for us, I think it's one of those things with time. There are times when it feels like we need to replace the position. But I think it's having that patience and figuring out, okay, how do we get by, maybe short this one person so that we can take the time to find the right person. And so for that, it looks like a multi-step interview process that we involve not just myself, but I'll bring in my nurse, and there's times I'll bring those care team members in with other care team members and let them have some input on the hiring process and hiring decision. And just see, the more you're around someone, the harder it is for them to say all the right things and do all the right things, and hopefully you get a chance to see who they really are during that interview process.
Indeed, and also in your position, along with Kayvon and Matt Stanley, you have it is a team even in the upper management where you have those two guys are some great minds to be able to discern and to talk with people about adding the right team members and making sure that they have the characteristics and qualities that you look for to handle what you do every day at your locations, right?
Absolutely. That's one of the greatest assets we have is the ability that I can pick up my phone and have the CEO on the line or have our vice president of finance to answer a question or to respond, and not be a nuisance to them, but them genuinely care and be involved in what's going on.
No doubt about it. And Mr. Brandon Green, congratulations on your new position, and it's exciting to have you two in the Sundance Memory Care family. Tell us a little bit about your background and what's going to be happening with the new location in Cypress and when it's opening and so forth, please.
Well, yeah, thank you. It's exciting to be part of it, and one of the big draws, which was really the thing that really drew me to Sundance, was the way in which you talked about Matt and Kayvon earlier and the way they approach things, but it's really their different approach, and it's refreshing to see that these guys and the way they run Sundance is really what can make the residents' life the best, and then we'll figure out a way to make that happen. And for me, I really come from more of a team building, a culture building background. I was really involved with sports growing up. Actually played professional sports for a little while, and coached for several years, and did a lot with building teams and building culture. There was a year long that I did for my job, did team building exercise with corporations and things like that, and that was really exciting to me. Just knowing that you can have great ideas, but it's the people that are on the ground. Your team is who's carrying those ideas out. So the way in which to build a culture amongst your caregiving team, which will then, as Lance talked about earlier, which will produce that patience and that love for your residents. And I was just really intrigued by that and captivated by that idea. And they're also just great guys to work with and for. So that was exciting too.
So no doubt it sounds like you are in the right place, and that's we're very excited for you as well. And also, as you talk about sports, and you and Lance played on the Rice football team, right?
We did. We played right next to each other for a while. So that's actually where we met many years ago.
That was a long time ago.
But also now, Brandon, it says you went to the NFL as well. You're talking about the aspect of football.
I did. I did that, and it's really surprising to me that I probably draw upon those experiences as much as anything. When you look at something like this, I mean, you would think there'd be no correlation, but I've been under great coaches and I've been under not great coaches, and I've been under great leaders and I've played alongside great leaders, and then kind of vice versa, looking at that. And so you see what it really takes to be a leader. How do you inspire and continue to keep people motivated? And those sort of things are really, they transfer over into a ton of different areas. And so and those are the things that's really excited me. And it was fun, honestly, even in my interview process. There were obviously questions that were specific to memory care, but much of our talk was how do I care for my care team, not just the residents, but how do I care for the people that are under me, so that they can then provide the best care and they can be motivated to do that. And that stuff just excites me. And so I was just, like I said earlier, just captivated by that and really looking forward to putting those things into practice. And just like anything, those are, I would say, easier said at the beginning than actually doing when the time comes. And so it's fun to see the hurdles that come up and overcome those with the family of the care team givers that we have there.
And also, as you were describing the football experience, I was picturing you're saying playing alongside with someone. A lot of times there are, in any team, sport or business or otherwise, many times you are playing alongside or working alongside someone that is very talented at their job or their position, but sometimes they aren't as talented as being able to work on a team to get the team project done.
Right.
And how do you work with individuals like that, or how do you guide them along, or is that impossible?
From my perspective, a lot of it is seeing. You have to know, one, what motivates them, and so you have to know that everybody's wired a little differently. Some people thrive more on relationships. Some people thrive more on just kind of a sense of accomplishment. Not that that's a bad thing, but maybe the accomplishment of providing great care. That there's marks that they can hit, and they see that accomplishment. And so there's that, and you gotta have patience and show love to those residents that are there. But as you know, you have to do that to the people you work with as well. And there's there's even an idea of pursuing peace, that peace is something we all want in life. You want a peaceful place to work. You want to have peace in life. Sometimes you do have to pursue that. And so that's more difficult than just the normal things. You have to go out of your way to pursue that, to make relationships right and to do things the right way. And I think that constant motivation and encouragement to do that is what helps drive that. And in our industry, that's what drives good care.
And also, Brandon, as I mentioned a couple times already, this new location in Cypress. Tell people the exact name of it. I know it has a different name than what I'm calling it, but tell people about the name, and also when is it opening to care for residents?
It's Sundance Memory Care at Town Lake, and so it's Town Lake, which is a community here within Cypress, Texas, so northwest Houston. And we'll be opening early October, mid-October, I would think at the latest right now. Just there are a few little nuts and bolts they're finishing up inside the building, and then we'll be up and rolling. So we should be pretty soon throwing a big opening party.
And for either one of you, in opening a new location like that in your profession, what are some of the things that you do to, certainly you're here and have been contributing on the radio show for some time, but what are some of the other things that you do to establish an organization like yourself with doing such important work? And to say that Cypress area is a growing area, that'd be an understatement, as many places in Houston. But has phenomenal growth. But what are the things you're doing to make people aware in the community so that they know about you and other things like that?
In our location here in Katy and the one up in Austin, one of the things we did, and I believe she was on the show before, was we've got a great girl on the team. Her name's Kaylin, and she actually started back in May as our admissions director. And what she's been doing is basically going around and just meeting people. So much about this industry is relationships, and so we've paired her up with my admissions director here in Katy, Samantha, and Kaylin and Samantha just kind of worked hand in hand and worked those people that we had already built relationships with here in Katy, and because some of those professional areas will cross over, and then she's gone out on her own and just been working and meeting people and just saying, hey, we're going to open soon. Not yet, but it's soon, it's coming. And so I know as she's been doing that, she's super charged up now that Brandon is now started with the company, and now she's not having to do it by herself. Now she's got some help, and she's got someone else that's able to be there. And so, hopefully building on what I would hope is a solid reputation here in Katy, and then taking those relationships and maybe anything we've accomplished here, and just kind of extending that, that 25 or 30 miles north into the Cypress area.
Well, that's right. And I will reference, I don't remember what show that was, but both of those young ladies were on the show, and they did a phenomenal job of being ambassadors for Sundance Memory Care. And I know for a while you may still be doing this, but you take the shows and put them on your website. And that show is probably on the website, on your website. If not, it is on my YouTube channel, which is Bill Nampick Radio Shows. But let's tell people, Lance, the website so people can find out more about Sundance Memory Care as we talk.
Yeah, it's www.sundancememorycare.com.
Hey, that's too easy to remember. But no, they did a phenomenal job. If you remember that interview, they were so passionate about what they do, and that's right. She said, "I'm going out to meet people," and here we are in the world of 2016, almost 17, high tech, all that. You guys are all young by comparison to me.
Well, thank you.
Yes, indeed. But I mean, sometimes in marketing of any kind of service or organization, you have to do the basic things, and that's just go out and talk to people, meet them, and have somebody as your ambassador that works easily with people and can engage with them right off the bat.
Yeah, she's kind of building off that old technique of just going and knocking on doors. Now hopefully it's sometimes a little bit smarter than that, but I know there's some days where it feels like she's just trying to turn over a rock and find somebody.
Well, also, as we talk about Cypress Town Lake, tell people about that might be listening outside of the Houston area. Certainly we have listeners that listen after the time of broadcast and even on iHeartRadio and other cities. But what's interesting, as far as the growth in that area, I just said that it's growing like crazy from a real estate perspective. What are some of the other things, Brandon, that you see as far as that Cypress area that makes it a place where you're going to have your facility there?
Well, it's really incredible, and a lot of that growth is what you talk about. In our industry, it's not always where people that are suffering with any type of form of dementia live. It's where their family lives, because many of the people that want to be close to them and want to care for them have jobs. And so many times they'll come in to where their family is living. And like you said, I mean, the housing is just gone crazy here in Cypress. There's so much. I went down to the Berry Center, which is this convention center nearby, and it's just incredible the things that they host here in Cypress and the amount of people that are moving here and that live here. And so there's a great demand for this, as there's, a ton of people who are at various stages in dealing with a loved one who is suffering from a form of dementia.
And if people didn't already pick up on this, I want to underline this and embellish it, and that is that as you have residents at your communities, Sundance Memory Care, these are communities that are designed specifically for memory care or diminished memory, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We
that's
try
correct.
to have everything from the color on the walls to the choice of flooring to help make it an environment that, physically is good for our residents, but at the same time, emotionally would calm them, would just really wrap around them as they walk through that disease of dementia.
And certainly to address their needs. And I bring it up because sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, people with diminished memory, like Alzheimer's, don't end up in a place that's specifically for that. Sometimes they're in a place where it's a housing situation. Is that correct?
Yes. One of the things I've found with families, and this is kind of true in life, is many times people, they may not become as educated as they need to be, and dementia, diminished memory is no different. Is that many times families or children that are trying to care for mom and dad with a well-meaning heart would say, you know what, I would want it to be a place that I would want to be. And so as they walk through a building or a community like ours, many times they will look at the things that they would want, and they don't realize that, some of those things that they would want are opposed to what's best for someone with diminished memory. Something that's complicated, something that's very distracting, a lot of activity, all those kinds of things can really cause anxiety in someone with dementia. And so very much a building that is created specifically for those with diminished memory is very important.
Indeed. And also, Brandon, give us a word when we talk about challenges. It's interesting to hear of your sports background, your team building, which is so important in any profession. But also, you've had some challenges. You have battled type 1 diabetes. Give us a word on that with the last couple minutes.
Yeah, well, I've had it since I was 10, so I'm working on 26 years now of living with type 1 diabetes. My brother was also diagnosed with that, and so on a very different end, it's a different type of disease that when it joins your life, I guess is the best way to say it. It's one of those things you have to learn how to live around and deal with, and so really in a lot of ways there are a lot of similarities in that you're trying to do the best you can with this disease that we don't know how to fix yet, and hopefully one day we will. But it's learning how to cope with that and live as normal of a life as you can with that disease. And that's for us, here in the Cypress location. And one thing I love about Sundance is every location is a little bit different in that it's always trying to improve upon whatever it knows will help the residents. And so, it would be a lot easier to come and put a cookie cutter building down that you know exactly how this is going to go and this is going to go, but there's a lot of things and a lot of problems that occur which are great because they occur because we're constantly trying to push the limits of what can we do that's best for the residents. And I've tried to live my life that way with juvenile diabetes. I've tried to push the limits of what you can do with juvenile diabetes, and I think you've got one life. You want to live a good one. You want to be able to bless people with it. So that's where I've gone.
Indeed. Sounds like mindset, as always, is so important. And Lance, with the last minute, tell people SundanceMemoryCare.com, and what else would you like them to know, Mr. Lance Redman?
SundanceMemoryCare.com. Really, our heart is that we would have the right people, and so hopefully you've got a chance to hear that from Brandon today. He's the right type of people, and I believe that the team we're building with more people like Brandon and Kaylin and Samantha and all those people you have had a chance to meet, I know that there's great things coming from those people no matter what we're doing. But when you put together their heart and their character of who they are, I know that those people, those individuals are going to leave a mark on dementia care in this, not just city or state, but I really believe on this nation.
No doubt about it. Gentlemen, thank you for being on the show. Welcome aboard, Brandon. Thank you, Lance Redman. SundanceMemoryCare.com. You've been listening to Successful Living with Bill Nampick and Lance and Brandon. And until next week, thanks for listening, and we'll see you then.
It's a fresh approach to caring for people with memory loss, Alzheimer's disease, or other dementia-related symptoms. It's Sundance Memory Care, the premier memory care community in Texas. Sundance Memory Care gives extra care with a 6-to-1 resident-to-care ratio. The goal is to lift up and support residents with a level of care that engages the resident and includes their family. Sundance Memory Care has regular contact with specialists and industry leaders with the most innovative memory care resources. Visit SundanceMemoryCare.com or call 281-769-2632 to learn more about them and schedule a tour with one of their directors. That's SundanceMemoryCare.com.